Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Arlene Diamco, the multidimensional MD. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, my mission is to help bring the intuitive aspects of health back to medicine in practical and tangible ways so that you can experience more peace, love, and joy in your everyday lives and access deeper healing. So, today I thought I would talk about an interesting topic that helps us with healing. It's a little bit more grander perspective today than talking about vitamins and minerals and things like that. But this is on how grace helps us heal because there has been a lot for people lately, and there's a lot of challenges, and that is not unique to these times. Everybody experiences some sort of difficulties. Suffering is part of the human experience, but so is love, and so can be grace. And so I'm going to go over just my perspective of what grace is, how it helps us heal. I'm going to read for you an excerpt from my new book, I Am Intuitive, which comes out July 26th. That's my dad's birthday. And I'm going to go over some Edgar Cayce quotes on things that have to do with grace. And I'm going to at the end I'm going to go through an intention that I wrote on grace for healing. And I actually wrote it 4 years ago at the very start of the pandemic, but it is still so timely today. And so I hope that you stay with me till the end, and then we'll do that together as well. So first of all, the way I look at grace is grace is love without judgment. Grace encourages us to understand one another when we have our differences. It helps us understand ourselves when we're going through difficulties. Grace is not an excuse. We just like understanding is not an excuse. I talk a lot about stress and trauma patterns, which helps me to understand how any person got to the state that they are in now. However, that understanding is never an excuse for bad behavior. And we can always choose to respond with grace. So, understanding helps us to do that. I mean, if you think about like if somebody is hurting, do you kick them down further? If your child yells at you, do you send them out of the house? No, you get really quiet and you listen. Or ideally, you get quiet and you listen and you ground and you center yourself so that you can respond from that grounding and centering through the heart, through love, through grace, and not respond fire with fire. So, not being reactive in that way. And then we can think about humankind and all of Earth's beings as a larger family. So, how can we help those that are upset? And similarly, the universe doesn't cast you out when you're angry or upset or have done wrong. It is actually impossible to be kicked out of the universe. So you always have that grace. We don't even ever have to earn it. We are loved no matter what by the universe, by the stillness, by whatever you want to call that thing that is greater than each of us individually. We are all loved no matter what. We are all deserving of love no matter what we've said, done, been through, experienced. And so that is also part of the human experience. Is part of our experience as beings, as spiritual beings having this earthly experience. So, along these lines, I want to read for you this excerpt from my new book, I Am Intuitive, a multidimensional guide to embrace your inner light. And this is later in the book as using spirit as your compass. And this excerpt is called Healing with Grace. So it goes like this. Grace is love without judgment. Grace is often discussed in a religious context, but it isn't limited to religion. It belongs to spirit, and we are all spiritual beings. Grace disrupts logic. It operates in the quantum, opening up nonlinear pathways and gateways to miracles. With grace, you move forward because there is no judgment to hold you back. Grace and forgiveness go hand in hand allowing you to step into the possibilities in each new moment. To love without judgment is to tap into an infinite love. So the next time you're feeling frustrated, consider giving yourself some grace. I've seen that we need to give ourselves grace, especially when we're starting something new in life, a new job, a new move, a new family. Doing something new can feel awkward or raise anxiety at first. My patient Amy felt this way when she was about to make a big move after a difficult divorce. She was in a rush to get settled and fell back into her old habit of beating herself up for not having it all finished already. I reminded her to give herself some grace. When she heard the word grace, she lit up. "That's right," she said. "Give myself some grace." With that shift, she exhaled and relaxed into life's timing. So, giving yourself grace is letting yourself free. You are freeing yourself, you're liberating yourself. And this does go hand in hand with forgiveness. And I actually talk about this at greater length in my book. But that is how grace can help you heal. It frees you because you're not holding yourself back from judgment, from a past mistake, or maybe you don't feel like you made the best decision, or you're feeling down by yourself, or whatever it is. Grace frees yourself from that because you love yourself no matter what. It's loving yourself without judgment. And then from that grounded and centered perspective, you can choose whatever step by step actions that you need to take. So, grace is not about laying on the couch passively. It's actually being very conscious of our beings as our humanity and as spiritual beings in these physical bodies. And so I also want to read for you these quotes from Edgar Cayce. And if you don't know, Edgar Cayce was the most well-studied psychic of the 20th century. They built a hospital based on his many readings that are meticulously recorded. And so the hospital was up and running, but then didn't hold through the Great Depression. But we still have access to all of these readings, and many of which are health related. So here, I'm going to read you a couple. So this one says, "As is seen, much has been gained through application of self's will. When the will made one with the creative energy's purpose in the earth's plane. When combative when combative with the creative energies, often comes, has come, will come, is that which brings doubt, fear, uncertainty in the experience of your human experience. So fear is the greatest destructive force to man's intelligence." So I'm going to pause here before I read the rest of this excerpt, which is from Reading 101-1. And so when you are combative with the creative forces, which means that you are not flowing with the stillness, with spirit, then you bring doubt, fear, uncertainty. And that fear is the greatest destructive force to man's intelligence. So, in order for us to step back in and be grounded and centered and approach with love, we do have to give ourselves some grace and to allow ourselves to choose to be moving with what they call here the creative forces or spirit, the oneness, the stillness. And so we can use our consciousness to do that. And that is part of the beauty of free will, that we have this consciousness that we can direct in whatever way that we would like. So if we choose to work with the stillness, with the oneness, with spirit, then we can flow with more ease in life. And you have greater access to your intuition, because that line there, fear is the greatest destructive force to man's intelligence. So if you're responding with fear, it's like you don't have access to the grander perspective. You have these tunnel vision blinders. And so you may not necessarily be making the best decision for the good of all that is love directive. So in application, then so this quote continues, apply yourself in that direction, which is the most aid to your fellow man in applying will, in applying knowledge, in applying understanding of creative energy's purpose with man to make man one with and equal to that creative energy will bring to self the satisfaction of experiences well spent. And when these are added, no uncertainty may come. So, if you use your free will to direct it towards the stillness, spirit, creative forces, however you want to call it, then you are living in abundance. You are not living with fear. You're not living with lack, and you're living with abundance. And to allow yourself to do that actually means that you have to step into grace because again my definition of grace is love without judgment. So you have to release this judgment of yourself so you can free up your free will and liberate it and move it towards this direction where you can act more from love, from spirit, and that guidance of intuition. And so here's one other quote from Edgar Cayce. It says, in freedom is grace if grace is allowed in yourself. Similarly, if you would have friends, you must yourself be friendly. Then open yourself to more the possibilities and the probabilities that are about you day by day, and you will find greater blessings may come to thee. So that's from 3246-1 of Edgar Cayce readings. So in freedom is grace if you allow grace in yourself. And so in dropping that judgment of yourself, it's much easier to drop the judgment in other people. And finding that peace in yourself, it's easier to see peace in other people. If if you are to gain friends and instead of enemies, then it's to be friendly and kind with yourself. And then you're able to be friendly and kind with other people. So that is how grace and confidence and love and freedom go hand in hand. So this is really interesting. Corinne Casey, who's a great granddaughter of Edgar Cayce, and we just recorded another episode of Creating Calm podcast, Parenting with Mind, Body, and Spirit. And in that one, we focused more on the many faces of fear and how to address fear. So when that comes out, it will be in a few weeks. Then I encourage you to listen to that too. And that you can find on any podcasting platform. So, but these are really very interesting. And I feel like these are great guiding lights that we can use in our lives that not just affect our mental, emotional state, our spiritual state, but also our physical state, because our bodies respond to how we think, that electricity that we are sending through with our thoughts and creating our energies. So if we want to see peace around us, then we need to feel the peace within us. So we need to create within us the feeling and vibration that we that we hope to experience and see in the world. And this is why grace is so important. It is important for you to feel balanced and healthy, and it's important for us to create a world that is more balanced and healthy. And I like to weave in and out of these conversations because I know sometimes I go into these grander perspectives, and then sometimes we go into the nitty gritty, like the mitochondria. But they aren't separate; they are actually one and the same. So there is infinite in the minute, the finite, like that space between things, and there is infinite in the expansion of everything. So no matter what direction we go in, we get to explore this consciousness, this infinite love, and that is always healing and understanding ourselves and understanding our free will and our choices and how we can step and move into the world. So you can choose with your free will to cultivate that feeling and vibration that you would like to see and experience in the world. This is the birthright of our free will, that we can use our minds to cultivate our experiences. And yes, this takes practice and can feel hard at first, but with grace, patience, love, and consistency, then these miracles can abound. So lastly, I want to finish up with this intention that I had set. It's like a kind of mantra that I'd set with EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique, where you tap on certain meridian points, acupuncture points, to help your energy free up in your body. And so you can follow along with me. It's really interesting because I wrote this in March of 2020, just at the start of the pandemic. And when I pulled it up today, I felt that it was so timely. And so I guess it has a timeless quality. It was written in response to a very difficult time, but yet it has this timeless quality because, like I said, suffering is inevitable in the human experience. There's no one that lives through life unscathed, but you can still experience like beauty and love and peace even when things are really hard. So this is part of creating this EFT intention. And so we'll do it together and you can just follow with me. I'll tap with a couple fingers on each of the acupuncture points and then I'm going to read through the intentions that I wrote. And then I would encourage you to do it along with me. So we'll start with the inner eyes. You'll tap right here at the beginning of the eyebrows. Dear God, the universe, the divine oneness, please help me care for myself, my family, loved ones, and those in need. And then outside the eyes, with love, compassion, and grace. In fact, I choose love, compassion, and grace for myself and for others. And then under the eyes, you can do it on one side or both sides. Although the state of the world seems difficult and uncertain, I trust in the process of whatever is and whatever is to be from moment to moment. Under the nose, I believe that we can unify as human beings to take care of ourselves and the earth. Under the mouth, I choose to speak encouraging words of kindness to myself and others. Collarbones, and to look up more often than down because I am open to being calm. Sometimes it is easier than other times, but if it's possible to be calm, then I allow it. Under the arms, I am open to listening to my inner guidance, and I allow my body to relax so that I can be more aware and act from a place of peace and wisdom. Top of the head, I love myself, my family, my friends, other people, and other living beings, and this whole planet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then take a nice big breath and exhale that out. So I don't know about you, but that felt really good to go through, and I appreciate you joining me with that. I feel like that kind of connection and doing it together in time and space, whether you're watching this live or watching the recording later, or just listening to the audio podcast, then we are connecting through time and space, and we can use our free will to do that, to feel more harmonious, to feel how we are connected as beings on this planet, and to live with grace and peace and harmony. And by establishing that vibration in yourself now, then you get to see how that ripple effects into the world, into your day. And as you continue to come back to this um, moment to moment. And so anytime you feel like you slip or you fall, have that grace. You can come back and do this intention, and say these mantras, and that's how you do it. You come back, center yourself, moment to moment, and then step into the world, make your decisions from that feeling, full of grace, full of love, full of peace, full of harmony. Doesn't mean that you're not feeling the uncomfortable things too, but it prepares you so that you can respond with love, with grace, with peace. And that makes you this co-creator with the consciousness, with the stillness, with spirit, and you're creating from love, because we can really only create from love. Anything else is destructive. So I hope that helps you in your day and whatever you're going through. And I would love to hear from you. If you liked this episode, then please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below where you're from. Share it with anyone that you feel could benefit from it. And if you'd like to connect with me in other ways, you can on Instagram at All Worlds Health, on Facebook, All Worlds Health and Pediatrics. And you can always sign up for my e-love letters. I send them out once a week on Wednesdays, and you can do that at allworldshealth.com. So lots of love to all of you. I believe in you, and I hope that you believe in you too. Take care.